Bismillah, Assalamu alaikum. In today's video, I'll be really discussing a really important topic. I think this is one of my most important videos so far. This is about Occam's razor and naturalism slash atheism. Let's get started. So here's the background. Occam's razor is a principle in philosophy which states that if you have two competing ideas to explain the same phenomenon, the simpler explanation should be preferred and is more likely to be correct. Typically, it applies in one of two ways. Either the explanation that has the least number of entities is preferred, or the explanation which explains the most data by itself is preferred. And in this video, I will give examples of each. I'll try to explain it as clearly as I can. The case for atheism heavily relies on Occam's razor. The claim from atheists is that here's the basic case for atheism. The claim from atheists is that naturalism slash atheism provides one explanation of reality. Theism provides another explanation of reality. Naturalism is simpler because it has one less entity, it does not have God, and hence it should be preferred. This is the basic case of atheism. Here's the problem with this. Occam's razor, in and of itself, both definitions of it can be used to shred many atheist arguments and most atheist responses to theist arguments. Moreover, although Occam's razor is used to argue for evolution, I'll show later why, it also causes an absolutely massive problem for evolution. There are also problems in the atheist responses to fine-tuning and Kalam argument, and Occam's razor also causes problems for atheists in regards to things like principle of sufficient reason and indeterminism. Now I'll give some examples on how Occam's razor causes these problems. One way in which atheists will apply Occam's razor is the following. There are changes in animals and life basically that are explained by mechanisms such as neo-Darwinism. The atheists will claim because of this, the simplest explanation is that all changes in animals are explained by neo-Darwinism. This is one way, and basically they will say that the burden of proof is now on the person claiming that there is an god or an intelligent designer. Used in this specific way, Occam's razor causes a massive problem for atheists in terms of causation and premise 1 of the Kalam. Here's a simple reason why. Whenever we see in our experience an effect, there is a cause involved. Right? This is obvious. The simplest explanation of the existence of an effect is that a cause is involved. Therefore, the burden of proof would be on the person arguing against causation, and so, in terms of premise 1 of the Kalam, the burden of proof would be on the person arguing against premise 1 of the Kalam. Explanation, such as something coming from nothing, the atheist claim, violates Occam's razor, so they have the burden of proof in that regard. A similar reasoning can be used for the strong PSR as well. So there is simply no way around this. The same logic they use for their claims will basically cause massive problems for them when it comes to Kalam, PSR, contingency argument, etc. Now there's another massive problem for atheists with regards to Occam's razor. A massive problem, the definition we used earlier of Occam's razor causes for atheists is in regards to evolution. Most of the arguments for universal common ancestry are based on the assumption that similarity equals common descent. Some atheists try to lie that this is not the case. This is one reference regarding this, or that the similarity is the best common similarity is best explained by common descent. This is a single reference for this. I can give others as well. But here's the problem. There are an absolutely massive amount of similarities in living things that cannot possibly be due to common descent. And this is something that mainstream evolutionary biologists will acknowledge. This is not a controversial fact, and these are just a couple of references in this regard. Again, this is not something controversial. Here's why this definition of Occam's razor causes a massive problem for atheists, the other definition. All of the similarities in living things can be explained by common design, but only some of the similarities in living things can be explained by common descent. Common design can explain those similarities which atheists claim are due to common descent and which they claim are not due to common descent. Common design can explain all of them. If they are using common descent as an explanation For the other similarities that are not due to common descent, atheists need another explanation. Common design can explain all of those, and hence common design is simpler than common descent by default because less explanations are required. And again, this is something that's clear cut. It can explain the most data by itself without the need to invoke other explanations, which is why common design is simpler than common descent. There is simply no way around this. So this is another way that Occam's razor causes an absolutely massive problem for atheists, especially in regards to evolution. Now I'll give another example in this regard. A massive problem for atheists with regards to Occam's razor is related to the fine-tuning argument. The most common atheist response to the fine-tuning argument is the multiverse, but that explanation actually flushes Occam's razor down the toilet. Here's why. An intelligent designer is one entity, which is one explanation of fine-tuning. A multiverse is another entity, but a multiverse is an infinite number of universes. On one side you have one entity, and on another side you have an infinite entities. The intelligent designer is clearly a simpler explanation. There is no way around this. Now the atheist might try to respond to this by saying that multiverse is proven by science. It's not, and many scientists acknowledge that it cannot be because it's beyond the universe. And here's why. Science is by definition based on observations. Multiverse by definition beyond the observable universe. It is not observed, it cannot be observed even in principle, so it cannot be proven by science. It is just a philosophical claim. And Occam's razor actually buries this because, on one explanation, intelligent design has one entity, God, another explanation, multiverse has an infinite number of entities. So, the same type of Occam's razor that atheists are using to justify atheism ends up burying their response to the fine-tuning argument. Again, I think I could have multiplied these examples many times over to show the problem Occam's razor causes for atheism, but I think these examples suffice to show the absolutely massive problem that Occam's razor causes for atheism. Inshallah, I hope you have liked this video. If you did, please share it and comment. Till next time, Assalamu alaikum.